Woo! What's going on, brothers? What's going on, man? It's your dude, Mr. International Passport, here again for yet another future classic live stream. Yeah. First and foremost, brothers, right? Press on one in the live stream chat if you can hear me loud and clear. K62. How's my audio, bro? Is it good?
I got you clear over here.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Brothers in the live stream chat. All right. Let me know if my audio is good right now, fam. Pardon me. How's my audio, man? Is it good? Bears Pill Clips in the building. Can I get a couple more ones, please, man? Who's here in the building, man? Come on, type of one in the chat. Is the audio good? Production quality good? Let me know right now. I need to fix it. Who else is here? Who else is here? King New, awesome. So let's get straight into it, brothers, man. Okay. Special announcements first. When you come in the live stream, please like the video, like the live stream. Hit the super chats and the Patreon and the PayPal donations for support. Join the Patreon to hear how freaky Brazilian chicks are in the bedroom because they're super freaks right there, bro.
Oh yes. Good time.
Good times, brothers. All on the Patreon, man. Japanese woman, Brazilian woman, Vancouver woman, Swedish woman, all on the Patreon. Hear how freaky they are. Aside from that, brothers. Aside from that, book your IT consultation with me via the Candy link below for IT support and IT guidance. And go on the merch website, get a hoodie, get a t-shirt, get something to support the movement. That'd be greatly appreciated. So let's get straight into it, okay? We got a brother here called K62 who is here to break down his time in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Okay? Brazil. How you doing, K62? You good, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for asking.
Welcome back to the channel, bro. It's been a minute. I hope you got to hear you're doing well and you're thriving out there in Brazil, bro.
I loved it out there, man. Absolutely loved it out there.
Awesome, brother. So before we break down the whole Brazil experience, woman, cost of living, life, checking for brothers, a whole 9 yard, right? Give us a brief intro as to who you are, where you're from, and anything special about you, bro. Break it down for us, brother.
Man, I'm a former military guy. I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. That's kind of when I got my first travel bug. My father was in the Army before that. Early 40s. Worked for the federal government for the United States. I'm a six-figure earner. Uh, not in IT, so I can't just pack up and leave. But I travel as much as I can. I've been to 48 different countries, and I love to travel. Love being on the road. Uh, Try to go as many places as I can. Kind of new to the whole passport bros movement. I was married for a while, not married anymore. So that's pretty much the rundown on me. Hello?
Hello, you there, brother?
Yeah.
48 different countries. Incredible, brother. Incredible. Brother, so out of those 48 countries, right? Tell me your top 5 countries.
Top five, I gotta say Turkey, Germany, Brazil, Colombia, and Mexico.
Damn. Incredible, brother. You been Japan before?
I have been to Japan before.
You loved it?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I was still in the military at the time, so I had way too many restrictions to really enjoy it the way I would now. So I do plan on going back in the future.
Amazing. It's funny how you say Germany, bro. It's always Germany for brothers, man. I'm telling you, brothers, man. Germany is it's a black man's paradise. Ain't that right, bro?
Oh, indeed it is, man.
Awesome, awesome. So, brother, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, right? Incredible. Can I ask why you went there this time around, brother? What was drawing you to Rio de Janeiro, my brother?
Well, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing, man. I was just going through a little bit of depression, and I just got up one morning, got on my phone, looked through a couple things, and booked a flight, booked a hotel, and said, "Screw it, I'm going down there for like 12 days."
Incredible, brother. And brother, I want to say well done there for taking action, right? When you're feeling something, when things ain't going right in your life, you gotta take action, bro. The fact that booking a trip made you, cure that depression means that you took action, right?
Yeah.
And it proves my point, brother. Traveling and getting out the West, right, really is life saving, right, brother?
Oh, yes, it is, man.
Incredible, brother. So, brother, now first question for you, brother, right, is brother. in Rio de Janeiro, brother, right? Tell me about where you stayed in Rio, brother. Was it hotel? Was it Airbnb, brother? Break it out for me,
Yeah,
brother.
I stayed in a hotel, just a regular old Marriott, and that, as we progress through this live stream, that'll actually come into a big factor, as I tell the story.
Amazing, amazing, brother. And brother, this hotel in Rio, right, brother? Right? Was it like a five-star hotel? Was it four-star hotel? Was it a high-value hotel, brother? Break it down for me, brother.
Yeah, it's a high value hotel. It's probably about a 4 star. One part of the Grand Marquis uh, class. They didn't put the Grand Marquis label on it, but stayed in like other Grand Marquis around the world. It definitely was on par with that. Um, Price wise, I think it was about 67 American dollars a night, maybe 62. I'm a Marriott Platinum member, so I got all the amenities and everything go along with it because I've done a lot of traveling. So the hotel really it was just a place like for me to shower and have a little fun and have a gym to work out in.
Amazing. Gym as well. Incredible, brother. Living that high-value lifestyle, bro. We love to hear that, bro. We love to hear that, bro. Brother, were you in Copacabana? I'm guessing.
I was real close to it. I actually, so I'll get into the whole story, man. Like, the flight down there, I bought a business class ticket, and I'm getting on the plane, I sit in my seat and everything. And the flight attendant walks by me, and she kind of smiles and everything. I smile back. She comes up to me a little later on, and she's like, "Hey, if there's a seat available in first class, I'm gonna move you up to first class." I'm like, "All right, I appreciate it." So I'm sitting there. Few minutes later, right before about to take off, and then the doors close. She's like, "Hey, come on with me, grab your things." So I get bumped up to first class, and I sit there, and I'm in the seat, and I just recline back. I'm about to fall asleep, and I fall asleep for a little bit, and she comes and taps me on the shoulder, and she's like, "Hey, you didn't plan on sleeping the whole flight, did you?" I was like, "No, I guess not." So I got up and everything, and she talked to me a few times, and she asked me where I was staying, and I was staying in an area called Baja de Tijuca. And I told her that, and she was like, "Oh, that is the most boring place in Rio. Like, you do not want to stay there." And I'm like, "Well, I got the hotel booked and everything." She's like, "You're not gonna experience Brazil staying in the area. You'll be safe. It's a family area, but you're far away from everything that's gonna be fun. You're gonna be in an Uber the whole time, going back and forth." And I'm like, "All right, I'll take your word for it and everything." So, the plane takes off. I talk to her a little bit. She keeps coming back. She's giving me extra food and like full bottles of water. And I was getting the whole can of soda or pop, as some people call it in the United States. And, she's being kind of flirty and everything. And I was kind of, playing into it, seeing what I could get out of it. So we land in Rio, and she's like, "This is your final destination." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to be kicking it here the whole time. Like, I'm going to be here for 12 days. She's like, "All right, cool." She's like, I'm got to overnight here. She's like, "But I fly through Rio, pretty frequently and everything." I'm like, "Yeah." So I didn't, want to press my luck too hard and everything. And then I get there and they lost my bag. And I was mad, man, because I'd actually bought this huge backpack. So I had like 3 days worth of clothes and a pair of shoes in there and, everything to be able to shower and brush my teeth and everything. But I was going to run out of clothes real fast. So I get to the hotel, I check in, and let me rewind a bit. As I'm walking out and I clear customs and everything, the first thing that I noticed really is, man, it's like I had already exchanged my money before I got down there, so I had about $600 of American cash converted into Brazilian real. So I'm sitting on a pretty fat stack of cash, and I've got it broken down into like small denominations here and there, and I'm spread out through like on my person and also on my backpack. So if somebody were to bump me or something like that to try to take it off me, they wouldn't get all my money at once. So I start talking to this guy in there. He could speak a little bit of English, and I speak absolutely no Portuguese, which plays a big factor in my time there as well. So he's like, "Look, I got a friend of mine who's a taxi driver, and he'll hook you up and everything." I was like, "Yeah, before I get hooked up with a taxi driver and everything, I need to go get myself a SIM card." So dude walks me up to the place. I buy a SIM card. I pop it in. I'm able to get communication, let people know back home like, "Hey, I made it to Brazil. Everything's good." And then he's like, "While you're here, man," he's like, "Just looking out for you. Make sure you've got WhatsApp. Like, that's our primary means of communication. around here. Like, it's because the cell service is back and forth, but you can always get on the Wi-Fi and use WhatsApp. I'm like, all right, cool. So I go down there and I'm looking for my bag. My bag doesn't show up. I go talk to the people and they're like, we'll try to get your bag here as soon as possible. Tell us where you're staying and we'll give you a call. So I give them the number to the hotel, tell them where I'm staying and everything. Don't have a room number yet. I Dude takes me up there. I hop in a taxi cab, and I'm like, all right. I felt him out a little bit. I'm like, all right, I feel kind of comfortable here. And dude's like, yeah, man, just give me, I think it was like 100 real to get, all the way across town. It was 90 real. I ended up giving a tip of like 100. Plus, I gave him a 20 in American, which he was like really thankful for that. Gets me straight to the hotel. I check in. Uh, Girl at the front desk was real cool. I'm like, hey, they lost my baggage. They're gonna be calling here possibly and everything. And she's like, all right, I'll keep in mind. So I pull her aside. I give her $40 American, and I give her the number to the the concierge at the airport. I'm like, hey, um, can you please call like every hour on the hour while you're here and just check on my bag? And she's like, yeah, she does that. And I'm like, while I'm here, like, can you look out for me a little bit? Like, if, let me know which places to go, where not to go, and everything like that. She's like, yeah, of course, So she's got this $40 American, which is a lot of money to them. And she's super nice about it. She calls, and everything. And I don't get my bag. I end up going up to the hotel, taking a shower, falling asleep, and I get a phone call in my hotel room, like, hey, you've got a visitor down here in the lobby. So I'm like, all right, cool. I think it's my bag. I go down to the hotel. I go down to the lobby of the hotel, and it's the flight attendant from the flight. She's like, I hope you don't mind me being so forward. She's like, I just want to show you a little bit of Brazil while I'm here tonight. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm like, man, she bumps me up to first class and then she shows me around. So we start talking and she's like, I live in Brasilia. She's like, it's the capital, it's pretty far away from here. I'm a flight attendant part-time. I fly through here every now and then, but she was like, I didn't want you to just be bored in this boring part of town and not get to see anything in Brazil. I'm like, all right, cool. So she's like, get an Uber. We'll go around. I'll show you some places. So she shows me around a few places, but I could tell she came from like an upper middle class family. So she wasn't really showing me Brazil. She was showing me like pretty much like America, Portuguese speaking America. I mean, the restaurants were the same, that everything was the same, but I bought some clothes and was hanging out with her. And she's like, Rio can be dangerous for somebody, who doesn't know what they're doing and can't speak Portuguese and everything. What do you plan on doing while you're here? I was like, I'm gonna see all the touristy stuff. I'm gonna hang out. And she's like, you're so brave. You came here by yourself. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be good by myself. I've traveled a bit and I can get around. So,
Carry on, bro.
she's like, we get in the Uber, go to a couple restaurants. She bought me some dinner and she's like, all right, she's like, I wanna, you know, get some place where there's like, a little bit more private. And I'm like, we can go back to my hotel. And she's like,
I knew it. I knew it.
She's like,
Go on, bro.
yeah. She's like, that. So that'd be nice. So I don't immediately take her out to my room. Like we stop at the bar and have a couple of drinks at the bar, and then she's like, all right. She's like, my flight in the morning. I can't. I got to stop drinking. I have to stop drinking a certain amount of hours for everything like that. And she's like, plus, she's like, I don't want to be drunk. Like I want to experience you, like really experience you. So we go up to my room, and she spends the night with me. Good time. Next morning, I walk her back down to the lobby. She gets into an Uber. She goes back to her hotel. She gets on her flight and she goes on about her way. So the girl at the front desk comes in a little bit later. I go talk to her, and I'm like, "Hey, any luck on my bag?" And she's like, "No, no." But I was like, "All right, I'm gonna be, taking off, and I got a few things I'm gonna take care of." And she's like, "You should, if you're looking for clothes, you need this, that. Don't go to this mall. Go to this mall. It'll be a little bit cheaper there." I'm like, "Okay, thanks for the advice." So I go to the mall she tells me to go to, and I'm walking around the mall, and the mall's got everything you can imagine in there. And so I buy a couple of things, and then I stop and I see this barber shop in there, and I end up meeting the barber, this dude named Matthias. Solid dude, man, like super solid, man. Like I talked to him for a little bit. I've got these translation headphones, and I give him one of the headphones and everything, and it's fairly accurate. Go back and forth. There's some times we're both laughing because we know. what it translated wasn't anywhere near what we were trying to say. But he was like, look, man, you're in pretty good shape. He said, you're not too far from Copacabana. He said, man, just take your shirt off, man, walk on the beach, man, and you're gonna get a girl. And I'm like that? He's like, yeah, like that. He said, especially being American. He's like, most Americans, man, they're fat, they're out of shape. He said, you come down here, you're jacked, you're ripped, you got a nice body. You walk on the beach, man, some girl is gonna come talking to you. And I'm like, all right, man, I'm gonna throw the bait out there and see what I catch. So I go down, walk a few blocks, get down to the beach, and I'm walking around and I see this girl and I walk right up to her like, hey, what's your name? And she starts laughing and she's like, are you American? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I don't speak any English. And she was like, and I don't like Americans.
Damn.
So I started laughing. I'm like, why don't you like Americans? And she's like, I give her the little translation thing. She's like, what is this? And I'm like, you speak Portuguese. It tells me what you said in English. And then she kind of picked up on it. She sees it. It translates and everything. She tells me pretty much like, Americans come down there. They're a bunch of predators and they're just after women. And I was like, no, I'm not even like that. Like, I walked up to you. I just want to know how you're doing, get to know you and everything like that. She's like, well, okay. She's like, but I don't speak English, you don't speak Portuguese. How can we get to know each other? I was like, we can just talk like this back and forth and everything. So she's like, hey, she's like, tells me like she's got to go do something with her sister, but she'll contact me later. She asked for my WhatsApp. I'm like, okay, give her the WhatsApp. And I'm thinking like, all right, that's the end of that. I'm not going to hear from her. So I keep walking around the beach. I'm talking to a couple people. The kids are playing soccer and everything. I talked to a couple other Americans that are out there, and I'm talking for a little bit. My phone starts buzzing. I look down, and it was that girl. She's like, "Hey, I really want to apologize for how I treated you earlier. Would it be okay if we met up a little bit later on, and then I'll get you dinner?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's great." So, about 2 or 3 hours later, I meet up with her, and we go out to dinner. And she's apologized for everything. She starts telling me about her life and everything, and wants to know, what brought me down to Rio, what I was down there for, how long I was going to be around, where I was staying. So we had that conversation, going back and forth through the translator. And she's like, you're really nice, and she's like, and she's like, you're really, you're a beautiful man. I'm like, oh, thank you. She's like, I just, I thought that you were just trying to talk to me to try to like get me in bed. And I was like, no, yeah, it's like I just wanted to know, get to know somebody while I'm down here. And I'm like, I do find you attractive. And she's like, okay, thank you and everything. She's like, there's so many other beautiful Brazilian women down here that are gonna just love you. Why me? And I was like, don't worry about them. Like you're the one sitting down here with me right now. And she does this little heart thing. And it's like one of the things like the girls did down there. It's kind of like, whenever you say something they like, they would just do this little heart with their hands and to let you know that like you touched them. So I'm like, we talk back and forth, and she's like, what are you doing after this? I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to my hotel. Like I don't know anything here. And she's like, well, I'm not going to your hotel with you. I was like, I was like, I didn't ask you to. I was like, I got that itch scratched last night, but that's not your business. I didn't tell her that though. So she's like, do you really want to see Brazil? I'm like, yeah. She's like, look, she's like, I don't make a lot of money. She's like, I live in a favela. And she's like, it's, some place that you've probably been told to stay out of. You might think it's dangerous. And I'm like, like I'll be all right. She's like, but if you want to see Brazil, she's like, I will show you Brazil. I was like, I want to see Brazil through the eyes of a Brazilian, not the eyes of a tourist. And she just lights up like, okay, I can do that to you, do that for you. So she takes me to this bar that is in the middle of this favela. I mean, like, as we're driving there in the Uber, I'm like, like, oh man, that's probably the place where I probably shouldn't be. And we go to this bar and it's got this beautiful view of Rio. And we stay there, have a couple of drinks, we're overlooking everything, taking pictures. And then she wants to start taking pictures with me. And we're taking pictures together. And we start talking to a couple of people and, like, what are you doing here and everything. So time gets away from us and the bar shuts down. And she's like, call it, get an Uber. But the way they pronounce it is hilarious. They call it Uber. And she's like, points to my phone like Uber. So I try to get an Uber, and the Uber driver says to me like, "I am not coming in that neighborhood this time of night." I'm like, okay. So I try to get another Uber. He's like, "I'm not coming in that neighborhood this time of night." I'm like, I'm looking at her like, "Hey, where did you take me that other Uber's gonna come?" So we step outside, and the bar shut down. And I'm looking around. I'm like, yeah, this is probably a pretty rough spot. And I see these kids that had like clearly just stolen this motorcycle. They had no idea how to drive it and everything like that. So I told her, like, through the translator, hey, tell them I'll give them $5 American if they let me borrow that motorcycle just to ride out of the favela, and I'll give it right back to them at the bottom of the hill. So at this point, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. It's raining, and I'm like just trying to get back to my hotel. Hopefully, bring her with me. So kids like grease to it. So I hop on this motorcycle. I haven't been on a motorcycle since like 2008. I mean, I'm really rusty as far as riding a motorcycle. But man, I am whipping this motorcycle down the hill in the streets in this favela. I got this girl that I've known for like 8 hours on the back of it, and I got no helmet on. And we're going probably about 60 miles per hour. I can't translate that into kilometers for you right now, but we're going a decent speed. We get to the bottom of the hill to at the end of the favela, and she's just all on me, like I can tell she was having a good time. She's really feeling like, man, this is wild and dangerous. And I get off, I give the kid his $5 back, and they're all patting me on the back, cheering me like, "Oh, go gringo, gringo, gringo." And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I've never been called a gringo before in my life. Like, I'm clearly a black man, but they call all non-Brazilians down there, if you come from Western country, you're a gringo, regardless of race. So we get in the Uber, and she's all kissing me on my neck, and she's all up on me and everything. And I'm like, all right, great. So I tell the Uber driver, like, hey, take this to the hotel. She tells the Uber driver pretty much like, no, stop here first. So she stops and goes home. She's like, sends me a message like, hey, I had a good time with you and everything. She's like, but I was not going to go to your hotel with you. I just met you. And he's like, she's like, I got to work tomorrow. But after I get off work, if you want to see me again, message me on WhatsApp, and we will, and I'll find out, we'll meet someplace. So I'm like, all right, great. So she gets dropped off. I go back to the hotel. I sleep for a few hours, get up in the morning, work out. And then I go back down there, and the girl at the front desk is like, hey, your bag's here. I'm like, great. So I end up getting the Uber back to the airport, picking up my bag, coming back to the hotel. And I'm like, I got a few hours for this girl gets off work. So I'm walking down the street, and I go into this restaurant, and like looking around, I'm like, man, there's nothing on the menu I can read or understand. So I, take a picture of it. There's a little translation thing on there. And this girl just keeps staring at me, and she can't stop laughing. And I'm like, man, did I have something in my teeth? Like, what is going on here? So this girl comes up to me, and she starts speaking to me in Portuguese, and I have no idea what she's saying. And then she's like, oh, I give her the translation thing. She's like, oh, and then she can't speak into it. She couldn't figure it out, and I couldn't explain it to her. So, this is a tall, thin black girl, but she had a big rear end on her. I mean, like all the Brazilian girls that I saw down there had pretty nice bodies for the most part, but this girl, she's probably, you know, probably about 5'9", 5'10", and real thin. But I mean, she had a nice bottom side on her. So I'm like, all right, So we're talking. She's like, are you American? I'm like, yeah, I'm American. She's like, you're not Canadian? I'm like, no. And then she's like, have I ever seen any movies with you in it? I was like, no, I'm not a movie star. And she's like, you're a beautiful man. And I'm like, man, something must be in the water down here that, confusing these women, making them think that I'm something special. I'm like, not, I don't, I get plenty of play back home, but not like this. So we sit there and we're going back and forth, passing my phone back and forth, communicating through it. Because if I could have spoke Portuguese, life would have been so much easier. But I took like 2 weeks of PIMSA before I got down there, and it just did not work the way I wanted it to. So she tells me that she's, done working for the day. And I'm like, how you going home? She's like, yeah, I'll go home, later. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, my phone's about to die. I need to go back to my room and charge this phone. And she's like, how'd you get here? And I'm like, I walked. She's like, your hotel's close. I'm like, yeah. So we walk back to the hotel, and I take her right up to the hotel bar. We sit there and we have a drink. And I'm like, hey, I got, some other things going on tonight. And she's like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, no, I got some friends going to meet up with. And she's like, oh, can I come with you? I was like, oh, it's going to be just a guy's night out. And I didn't want to tell her that I had the other girl coming by. So then she's like, she leans forward and she kisses me. And she's like, well, how much time for your friends get here? And I'm like, about 2 hours. And she was like, that's enough time for us, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, pretty much like, hey, let's go to your room. So we go up to my room. We have a good time. She hops in the shower, takes a shower. I hit the shower, take a shower, and I go downstairs and I go to the girl at the front desk that I've been, that was cool with. And I was like, hey, can you have them go change the sheets in my room and clean everything up? She just smiles like, yeah, I can tell, like you've been busy. So she goes up there, she changes the sheets. They send somebody up there to walk you clean the room up, change the sheets. I meet up with the other girl, and this night, she's like, hey, what are you how late can you be out and everything? She's like, there's if you're brave enough, there's a party in the favela tonight. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. So we go out, we're hanging out, we go a couple of places. She shows me some things, we take some pictures, everything's a good time. And then she's like, you want to go to this party with me? I'm like, yeah, let's go to this party. So she tells me, like, hey, like, nobody's gonna mess with you while you're here. You know, especially if they see you with me, they know I live here. She said, but don't she's like, just don't do anything flashy. And I'm like, I don't, I'm like, okay, whatever. And then she points and she sees this, like, there's this the yellow cones on the ground. And she's like, the police don't come past here. So like, she's like, once you get in here, she was like, there's no police, like nobody's coming to help you in here. If the police come, like there's gonna be shooting. I'm like, oh, okay. So we walk probably about 300 meters in. I'll use the metric for you. And I look around and I see all these armed gangsters there. And I'm not talking like, with handguns or anything like that, but they're heavily armed. And I'm like, man, this is how they patrol the streets down here. Like, and she's like, yeah, like they own the favela. And I'm like, okay, I guess if the police can't come in here, that's how they keep the order around here. So we sit down at this restaurant and we're eating, and I mean, some of the best shrimp I ever had in my life. I mean, the food was delicious, and they're playing the music, and everybody's dancing, having a good time, and she's all hugged up on me. And I'm like, man, this is real fun. I'm having a good time. And she's like, you want to go a little bit further? She's like, that's where the real party is. So she takes me, a little bit further down, a couple of blocks, and they got just the music just blasting. The streets are filled with people partying. I mean, the girls, very wearing very little clothes and everything, and she's dancing up on me. And then this other girl's dancing on me, and she like kind of pushes the girl off, like, "Hey, back up off of him." So I'm like, "Oh, like I don't want to cause any problems here." So we kind of back away, and then this girl comes up to me, and it's like at this point, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and this girl is holding a baby, and I'm like, "What are you doing out here with this baby at like 2 o'clock in the morning?" And she's practicing her English and we're talking and everything. And she's like, baby. And I'm like, yeah, I see the baby. She hands me her baby, goes over in the corner, squats down and relieves herself, wipes herself with like some napkin or something she had in her pocket, throws it on the ground, walks over to this table, grabs a bottle of vodka, shakes the vodka in her hands, rubs them together like it's hand sanitizer. She comes back up to me, is like, baby. So I just hand her baby back. And I'm like, this is the wildest crap I've seen in a long time. Like, the girl I'm with, she was like, she looks at me and it was like almost like perfect English. She's like, this is the favela, baby. And I bust out laughing. I'm like, man, this is wild. So, it's about, we party. It's probably about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, look, I got to get home. Like, I got to get back to the hotel. And she's like, what do you want to do tomorrow? And she's like, I was like, I don't know what's up. She's like, I can get you, like a helicopter ride. There's a whole bunch of things. So she'd been like researching tourist stuff. And I'm like, yeah, cool. So the next day, I can't even say the next day. Like, she comes back to my hotel room with me. We take a shower. We go to bed, have our fun. And I wake up early. Like, I went to bed at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was up to work out by 10 a.m. She's still asleep. I go downstairs, I work out, I come back upstairs. She's still asleep. I wake her up. She'd set it up so we could get a ride, a helicopter. And she's like, they were trying to charge you like the tourist price and everything. And I told them, like this and that, blah, blah. She's like, I just need to know your full name and how much you weigh. I'm like, so I tell her how much I weigh, tell my full name. She plugs it in there and ends up coming out to $85 American a piece for both of us to ride in the hotel, ride in the helicopter. So I wasn't thinking like, this girl lives in the favela. Like, she'd never been on an airplane before, let alone a helicopter. So I didn't think anything about that. And I'm like, all right, uh, we get in this helicopter and we're riding around. I look down over the river. I see a like, anaconda swimming across the river. I see that what was that big rodent, that capybara? I see a couple of those around. We fly over the Christ Redeemer statue. We fly over the beach. I mean, we're just having. I'm seeing all this cool stuff. I'm taking pictures to my phone. I'm having a blast. Like, I'm loving it. And I look back at her, and she's like green, and I'm like, oh man, like what's I'm like, oh crap, this is motion sickness. She's never been in an airplane before, let alone a helicopter, so she's really not feeling well. So we stop at a pharmacy and I get her some Dramamine. I'm like, hey, this is gonna make you feel a bit better. I said, but it's gonna knock you out. And she, in translation, she didn't realize how tired she was gonna get. So she falls asleep while we're in the Uber going back to the hotel. I take her up to the room. She takes a shower and she goes straight, hops in the bed. And I'm like, this girl's just knocked out. Like, I don't know how long she's gonna sleep, but I don't want it to ruin my day. So I had everything, locked up in the safe. I left her in the hotel room. I go downstairs, like, all right, I'll get another workout in, and maybe she'll be up by the time I get done working out. So I work out, come back upstairs. She's still asleep. I take a shower. All right, I'm gonna trust my, try my luck. I walk down the street and go back to the hotel, or go back to the same restaurant where the black girl was working. So I start talking to her, and she's all, lighting up and everything. And she's like, when are you, gonna be free? And I'm like, I don't know. I got, my friends hanging out with me tonight and everything. She's like, can we go back to your room now? When I get off work. I'm like, no, like I got a friend of mine. He's not feeling too good. He's back in the room. And she's like, okay. She's like, can we spend some time together anyway? I was like, yeah, so she goes, gets off work, and then she's like we're walking down the street, and she's just smiling at me, smiling at me. And then she like pulls up on me and starts kissing me. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, we're in the middle of the street. And then she's like, come here, come here, come here. She takes me down this little back road and a little area. And, we have some fun there. And then she's like, I got to go home now. I'm like, all right, good. Go home. So I go back to the room, take another shower. By this time, other girls waking up. And she's like, can we just do something really like, small tonight? She's like, I'm really tired. I'm not feeling good yet. And so we went to a couple of restaurants, and she was like pretty much my photographer down there. I mean, she took a bunch of pictures for me. I had a good time. And then that night she goes back to her place, and she's got to work in the morning. So I get back to my hotel and it's like 11 o'clock at night. And I'm sitting there and I'm hitting up another girl, the girl from earlier, and she's like, yeah, I'll be right over. So she comes over and she's like, do you want to go out? I can show you some stuff. So she takes me to another area, and there's a wild party going there. And I walk in this place and I'm looking around like, man, this is crazy party. And the craziest thing happened, and I've not been able to find this song ever since. But having this wild party and all the lights in the club shut off, and everybody is whispering. And I'm like, man, what is going on here? And I'm kind of like weirded out because I don't speak Portuguese. Everybody's whispering, the lights went out, and then the lights come back on, and everybody cheers, and they just continue to party. I don't know if it was part of the song or not, because it happened again at another party I went to later on in a different area. But the vibe was so cool and so chill. Everybody was so laid back. I'm loving it. So we go back to my room. She spends the night with me, and she's like, next morning I get up, she gets dressed, and I walk her to work. And like, all right, so I gotta wait for the girl to get off work, the other chick to get off work, and I'm hanging out, I'm having a good time. I go back up to the mall and I'm talking to the barber, and he's like, hey man, how's everything working out for you? And he lines my beard up again. I mean, like, great job on my beard. I look better than I'd ever looked before as far as the way this guy was cutting my beard. And he's like, if you want to, you can come party with me and my wife tonight. Um, we'll hang out. She'll cook some food for you and everything. I'm like, all right, cool. I was like, he's like, if you want to bring a guest, you can bring a guest. He's like, all right. I was like, all right. So the girl comes with me. We go to his house, and she's like, you're just making friends all over Brazil, right? So, she starts warming up to me a little bit more, and she's telling me more and stuff, and we're having a good time. And I'm kind of like picking up a little Portuguese there, but everybody's laughing at my headphones. they're like, they, say it talking to his phone so he can hear you, and they're laughing. And they got their little jokes about me and my headphones and not speaking Portuguese, but they were super hospitable. The food was great. I mean, having a blast with these guys, with everybody. So then, she's like, "Hey, I got to work tomorrow, so I'm gonna get home early, and I'll call you when I get off work." I'm like, "All right, great." She gets off. We drop her off from the Uber and takes me back to my hotel. I fall asleep, wake up in the morning, and I got a message on my phone from the flight attendant. She's like, "Hey, I hopped on a an overnight in Rio. Are you still in the same hotel?" I'm like, "Yes." And she was like, "I'll be there around 6 p.m." I'm like, "Okay, great." So she shows up earlier than I expected her to, and she just grabs me by my hand, like takes me straight to the elevator. We go back up to my room. We have our fun. And then she's like, "Do you want to go here? Want to go there?" She's like, "I want to show you this, want to show you this." So she takes me out and about, and we're all on the other side of town. We're like, I have not known anybody. This is the more upper class side of town. And, we're just having a blast and everything. And then she's like, "All right, before you leave, I'll try to come back here again." She was like, how close are you to Chicago in the United States? She's like, "When I fly to the United States, like I go to New York, I go to Dallas, and I go to Chicago." She's like, "Those are the only places that I go, whenever I fly in the United States." She's like, "I'm just part time." But she said, "Whatever city's closest to you, will you please meet me there when I get to the United States? You don't have to do it all the time, but I just want to make sure I see you again." I'm like, "Yeah, I promise. I'll make sure, that I see you when you come to any city that's close to me." So, next morning she hops in her car or hops in an Uber, takes off. And I'm like, "All right, I'm probably never gonna see this girl again." But, I had a good time with her. She's great, a lot of fun. And the second girl I met, one on the beach, it's almost like clockwork. One leaves, another one comes in. And I wanted to see the Christ the Redeemer statue with her. We went to the Copacabana beach. We had a blast. I mean, my whole time there was just so much fun. Everything was just laid back. The food was great. Things were cheap. I mean, like, I can't speak highly enough on my time in Rio.
Wow, incredible, incredible, brother, brother. That flight attendant, right? Was she white, mixed race, or black Brazilian?
She's a white Brazilian. I think I sent you a picture of her. She'd have been the one in red.
Flipping heck! So, brother, she actually had her eye on you the whole time on the plane. The fact that she actually upgraded your flight to first class, bro, and you ended up smashing her. This is insane.
Oh, it gets even better than that because she flew into a city pretty close to me, and I drove down, and I was with her a couple of days ago.
In America.
Yeah, in America.
This is insane, bro. What the flip? Yo, brother, that's a brother. Right, that right there is a goddamn Hollywood movie, bro. No cap. The
Yeah,
fact that, bro, a flight attendant had an eye on you, right? The moment you stepped onto business class, right? Upgraded your flight to first class. You met her outside of the airport. You smashed, hung out with her. What the flip, bro? What is this?
I kept on thinking to myself like, is something really bad gonna happen in my life or something really good? It's just like, it was just too perfect of a trip. Like I couldn't believe what was going on.
Yo, this is insane, brother. So, brother, you can confirm to me that white Brazilian woman, peanut butter brown skin, peanut butter brown skin, Brazilian chicks, black Brazilian chicks, they
Yeah,
love
I had
black men.
yeah, I had one of each when I was down there
What?
multiple times.
Yo, bro. Okay, brother. What about the Japanese, Brazilian woman, brother?
I saw like two of them the whole time I was there, and I think if I'd have hung out with the flight attendant more, I probably would have seen more because I assume that they're higher class than where I was hanging out. Because I was hanging out with like in the favelas, the lower middle, the lower class areas. Because I wanted to see Brazil like not through the eyes of like a tourist who's got money. I wanted to see Brazil through the eyes of the people who live there every day. Like just your, working class or lower class people. And I had a blast with them because they were so hospitable in like the way that they treated me. And it was like I saw some, beautiful women of all different races there. And the only thing I can tell you, like the best advice I can give anybody who goes down there is stay away from Americans, like or Westerners, because like there's this one brother who was in the hotel who he was really acting up, being rude, and I guess they called corporate or whatever, and they packed his stuff up and had him like removed from the hotel. Like he didn't get to go up to his room and pack up and go. They packed it up for him, kept him in the lobby, and rolled him out of there. And the girl that I'd made friends with at the front desk, because the manager had seen me talking to him a couple of times, was gonna boot me out too. But she was like, no, no, he's good. Like he's just talking to him because they were fellow Americans. Like he's not with him. So the manager comes up to me and he's like, yo, like, he's like, you two are not friends, are you? It's like, no, he's just somebody that's talked to a few times around here. He's like, I'm so sorry for confusion, so sorry that, you saw that. And he threw me 500 points, Marriott points my way for that whole ordeal.
Yo, this is insane, bro. So, brother, literally the perfect trip for you, brother. Literally.
Yeah, it was absolutely great. I loved every second of it. Like the girl that I was hanging out with the most when I was down there. I mean, when she got in the Uber with me to go to the airport, she was in tears. Like she couldn't believe, like, there's some guy that she met on the beach that she had so much fun with and all these experiences, because she couldn't afford to get into a helicopter and get, go to places that she was going with me, and eat at the restaurants and stuff. So I completely, like, I changed her life for her. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, dude, you've negotiated prices for me. You have, kept me out of bad situations. She was pretty much like my pass for everything. Like wherever I was, if somebody looked at me a little different, like, oh, this guy might be somebody we could rob or whatever, and then they saw me with her, everything just balanced out. Like she just took care of so much stuff for me. And I was so appreciative. I'm like, you're gonna be my little princess the whole time you're with me. I'll open up the doors for you, I'll pull up the chairs for you, I'll pay for everything. Because, I was getting everything that I gave her, I was getting it back in tenfold by not paying the tourist tax, by having, somebody translate for me, and just, I mean, she took care of me perfectly. And
Lord. Go on, bro.
yeah, I don't know, you probably don't remember, but I sent you like the pictures. Like I think I sent you the pictures while I was still down there, because we talked to, a few times before I've been on the show. And I
Damn.
came back from that place like just rejuvenated, happy. I mean, like I'm happy about it right now, talking about it, and I've been back since what, early January.
Incredible, bro. Incredible. So, brother, let me ask this right. So, what about, brother, do you feel like the Japanese Brazilian woman in Brazil love black men?
I can't even speak on it, man. Like I think I might have saw maybe two or three of them, but I just didn't really like. I always had somebody with me. Like pretty much every time I was out and about, I was with the female.
Yo, brother, so the picture you sent me, right? Is it a chick, right, in the brown top that was giving you play?
Yeah,
Is that the one?
the chick in the brown top. That is the one that I met on the beach.
Flipping heck. Oh man. How old is she, brother?
23.
Flipping heck, bruv. Lord have mercy, brother.
Did I send
Lord
you the
have
picture?
mercy.
Did I
Come,
send you
bro.
the picture? The one in how many pictures did I send you? Just one?
So you sent me the woman in the brown top,
Okay, yeah,
chicken in the red bikini or red top, chicken in the black top.
okay, yeah. The man, I have to go through my pictures, man, because I thought I sent you all of them.
Lord,
Now,
23, peanut butter brown skin. Lord have
yeah,
mercy, brother. Damn, God damn. Yo,
and
oh
like
man.
I don't like, I'm in good shape, physically, but I say I'm an average looking guy, man. I'm nothing special.
Brother, the flight and the chick, right? How old was she?
She was 24.
Oh, brother. What the, what the flip is this, bro? Oh, man. Brother, I'm trying to just conceptualize this. I'm trying to like conceptualize this in my head, brother, right?
Yeah.
You are in business class, and brother, well done for being successful enough to get business class tickets. Awesome, bro. And brother, literally, you're getting eyed up by a Brazilian chick that's 24, white Brazilian chick, right?
Yeah.
24 years old, was checking for you the whole time, right? She then plots on getting you by upgrading your seat to first class, right?
Yeah.
She does that for you, and then it all falls like it all just like happens like a Martin Scorsese movie, brother. Beginning, middle, end, as if we're watching Goodfellas and Casino, bro. Classic movies. It's incredible, bruv. 23, 24-year-old chicks going out their way to get a black American man in Brazil. The Lord
Yeah.
is good, brother. Break it down.
And like I said, I'm an average looking guy. I'm physically, especially for a man in his early 40s, I still got a six pack. I still got, I'm in really good physical shape. So,
Yo, God. Go on, bro.
but other than that, man, like I consider myself just an average man. But they saw something in me, and it wasn't just a one time thing. Like, oh, I got lucky. And I think I just sent you the picture of the other one too.
Damn, peanut butter brown skin. God.
And
Yo.
and like when I say like one of the things I can tell you too about as far as stay away from Americans or Westerners was there were some young brothers there at the hotel, and they were working the pros. And I'm sitting there at breakfast one morning, and they're telling me about how for pretty much like $60 to $80 American, you can order up a young lady to come visit you at the hotel for an hour. So they were working the pros down there, and I just didn't want to be associated with that because I had built such a good rapport with the girl at the front desk, and the point where she kept me from getting kicked out of the hotel. She had made all the phone calls and everything to like get my bags back for me, and got my room cleaned in between visits from the women. Like she was solid for me, and I'm like, man, I don't want to be associated with these guys that are working life like that.
Oh man. Damn. Let me read the super chats, bro, before we'll pop the phone line soon. Shout out to King New for the support. Bro, you were moving like a black James Bond. You really were, bro. Shout out to Mr. Theodore Wol KG for the incredible super chat donation. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, brother, for the hefty donation. Wow, what a story. One of the best streams, one of the best on an IP stream. Happy for bro. Living his best life out here. Keep up the great work, IP. Thank you for the kind words, bro. Much appreciated. Classic stream, classic. Brother, so was there anything that you didn't like about Brazil, or was it literally the perfect trip?
Man, I think it was the perfect trip. The only thing I can say, man, like, and that's my fault, is that I didn't speak Portuguese, and I know I missed out on a lot of things because I just it was kind of a spur of the moment. I booked it, had a couple weeks to prepare for it, and I took like 2 weeks of Pimsleur, language courses to get down there, and I can speak decent Spanish, so like that helped a little bit. But otherwise, man, like my only complaint was like, I'm in their country and they don't speak English and I don't speak Portuguese, so the language barrier. But that's all on me. Like I went to their country not speaking their language. So that's my fault. Other than that, no complaints.
Whoa, incredible, incredible. So, brother, you were only in Rio during the whole trip.
I was only in Rio the whole time. And
Can I ask? Go on, bro.
and I think I barely scratched the surface of Rio.
But can I ask you your favorite spots in Rio, in terms of like, was it what the was it Copacabana,
Yeah,
something else?
Copacabana was amazing. Um, there's other area, I forgot the name of it, like the Playa something. It's another beach area where the local Brazilians say that that's the best beach there. They don't really like Copacabana. That's the tourist spot. That's where everybody goes. But the other beach, there's better beaches than Copacabana. And then I forgot the name of it, but I'm sitting there like the whole time I'm there, I'm thinking to myself, like, man, this is just too real to be true. I mean, too good to be true. Like, this is just so awesome. I'm thinking to myself, like, why does this have to end? Like, I probably only slept 4 or 5 hours at night because I was having so much fun. I didn't want to waste it sleeping.
Damn, amazing. Flip. This brother, I'm losing my mind here, man. It's like, yo, it's like a movie. And brother, you were there for 12 days, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that was enough time, right, for us to experience a kind of James Bond situation? Or did you feel like less time was okay or more time was needed, brother?
Man, you can do it. Like I said, I had fun, you know, within my first 24 hour, less than 24 hours there, I was having fun. Like I think if you go there for a minimum of like 8 days, you're gonna have a good time. If you don't want to do the 2 week thing, like take your 2 weeks vacation, 2 weeks holiday, go down there. You're gonna have a good time. Like I loved every minute I was there. And if I didn't have obligations back here, I would have stayed longer.
Incredible. Incredible. Um, brother, when you were out there, right, when it came to groups of women, right, who do you think was the most beautiful group of women there in Brazil? Was it the peanut butter brown skin chicks, the black chicks, the white chicks, the Asian Brazilian chicks?
The ones you call them the peanut butter brown, they were the ones like that I saw the most of. They were the ones that paid the most attention to me. I had several white Brazilians like definitely pay some attention to me and come at me. And one of the things like they are, they're flirtatious, and one of the things I kind of saw was kind of funny was like the main girl that I was with, like if she walked away from me, she went to the bathroom and she was gone, for a while, left me alone. Some woman was coming to me.
Huh? Brother, you tell me women were caught approaching you.
Yes.
What? What? Brother, women were caught approaching you in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Yeah,
What?
like, she gets up, she goes away, she said, I'm sitting at the table, it's a table for, four, and they could obviously tell that somebody had been sitting there. They would sit in one of the other seats, and I'm sitting there like, oh, this is cool. I'm like, but it's not gonna last long. She's coming out that bathroom, and I don't want to get myself in trouble here. I'm like, I could have played the game, and I could have rolled the dice and lost. And I played it safe. I'm like, hey, and I'm with somebody right now, and she's gonna be back soon and everything. And then because she got real possessive of me. I mean, like I was her man as far as was concerned. Like the other girl, like one of the girls kind of said something about me. Like I don't speak Portuguese, and her and this girl are arguing, and I don't have no idea what they said. And then afterwards, I'm like, hey, what's that about? And she's like, it's about you. And I'm like, I'm sorry, did I do something? And she's like, you didn't do anything, baby. You didn't do anything. And I'm like, okay. So then like later on, I kind of coaxed it out of her, and pretty much like the girl was saying that, her and her friend wanted to have fun with me. And they said it loud enough that she heard it.
What the flip is going on in Brazil? Fun with you? What does
Yeah,
that mean, bro? In what way?
sexually.
Flipping heck. What the flip is going on in Brazil? What? Um, yo, brother, so oh, I'm speechless, man.
Yeah. I mean, I said I kept in touch with her back and forth. I kept in touch with the flight attendant, of course. Because I'm like, if you're gonna be close to me, hit me up. If I got time, I'll be coming around for that.
So, brother, let me ask this right. So, when you compare your time in Brazil to America, do you think in your lifetime in America, right, for however long you're going to live in America for, you ever experience what you experienced in Brazil in America?
Not in that short period of time. Yeah, I
Damn.
mean, I and like the thing about it was like in the United States, you can always get quantity. You can always get lots of women in the United States, but you're not going to be getting quality in that. that aggressively towards you. Like I said, I consider myself an average guy. I have done well with women throughout my life, but I'm not the top notch model good looks guy. But I mean, you see the girls in the pictures, man. Like you see, they look pretty happy with me, don't they?
Yep, very happy with you, bro. Very happy. Okay, brother, let's open up the phone line to see if anyone got questions to ask you about your time in Brazil. Classic storytelling, classic live stream. Brazil is officially back on the map. After hearing this, uh, we got to send a million passport bros to Brazil by the end of 2025, bro. No cap. We need a million bros out over there by the end of 2025 in Brazil to experience that kind of James Bond, Martin Scorsese directed movie, brother. That's it right there, man. Lord. So, brother, when you were walking down the streets in Rio, did you feel like there was a lot of eyes on you by the woman? Woman was just looking at you. You could feel like an intense stare. Who's that black man there? Is that?
Well,
Did you feel that kind of energy, brother?
so I felt it, but the thing was, I talked to like several other Black Brazilians when I was down there, and like the Black Brazilians will come up to me and talk to me, and they would immediately, if they could speak English, they start talking to me English. And I was joking, like, "What? I don't look Brazilian?" They're like, "No," and like the Black Brazilian girl, she's like, "No, you don't look like us." And I'm like, "How do I not look like you? Like we're genetically the same. We all come from someplace in Africa." And she's like, "You're a different kind of beauty." And I was like, "Okay," and like, but I can never pinpoint why they didn't feel like I looked like them, but there was definitely something that about me that made me stand out and look different. And like I said, you know, I took like, when I'm in the States, I wear nice clothes, nice jewelry, things like that. Down there, I did nothing to stand out. Like I had on just the most plain jewelry, plain clothes, plain shoes. Like I didn't want to like throw up the like, the I'm the American, come rob me, anything like that. And it was like everything that I had, I was willing to lose.
Incredible. So I got a caller, King New. Can you turn your camera on in the background so I know you're not a troll? Before I bring you on, I think you can turn it off after. Look, if you can do that in the background, King New, you can turn it off. Then just a couple seconds so I know you're not a troll. So while we wait for King New to do that, we'll wait for another caller. If you're King, can you just turn your camera on in the background, please? I know you're not a troll. Then you can turn it off after. Then I bring you on after. So on, then off, and I'll bring you on after. Just gotta know that you're not a troll. We have a lot of trolls, a lot of bots that want to come on this channel and ruin the streams. King New, you confirmed. Thank you, bro. Turn your camera off. Turn your camera off. Let me bring King New in the background. What's up, King New? How you doing, bro?
What's going on, IP? Can you hear me clearly?
Loud and clear, bro. You good?
I'm good, bro. I'm actually Patrick. I'm in your class 6.
Oh, awesome. How you doing, Patrick, brother?
What's going on, bro? What's the brother name over here? Can I get your name again?
Could be K62.
K62. What's up, brother? Fellow Marine, Super Fidelis,
Hoorah.
ATSB. Hoorah. I had a similar experience like that when I went to Fiji Islands. My question was, when did you go, and what do you recommend other brothers like us that is interested in visiting South America, i.e., Brazil?
I
Thank you.
got there in I got there in like December 22nd, and I left on, was it either January 2nd, January 3rd.
Do you plan on going back, or what would you
Oh, yo,
recommend
yeah.
when it comes?
I'm going back. Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, man. I didn't know if IP invited somebody or you were playing an audio book, man. Like
yeah, man, I can't, like, I got a few
crazy
other
stuff.
trips. I got a trip to like Taiwan planned, and I got a trip to the Philippines planned, but I'm going back to Brazil as quick as I can. If I hadn't already
Did you
bought my tickets, I would have. I'd been like, all right, I'm just gonna spend more time in Brazil.
did you say Taiwan, brother?
Yes.
Oh yeah, brother. We gonna need intel on Taiwan, bro. From your eyes, from your eyes only, brother.
All right.
We need that ASAP. When are you going there?
I should be there in April or May. I gotta go back and look at my tickets.
Perfect, brother. Perfect. How long will you be out there for?
I should be there. I should be there for 5 days there, and then I spend 5 days in the Philippines, and then come home.
Perfect, brother. We need that Taiwan intel for. I'm guessing you're gonna be in Taipei, right?
Yes,
Yeah, brother. We need that for the streets need that, brother. ASAP. The streets need that intel, without a
streets.
doubt.
All right.
We need it, bro. Because the way Japan's looking right now, we need backup plans. And I'm not saying give up on Japan. Again, my streams are coming in the future, but we need backup plans for East Asian countries, because Korea is I think it's done for. You got about 5 years, 2 to 3 years until Korea is completely America 2.0. Japan 10 years max minimum, right? But I will explain in my upcoming streams about when I explore Japan again. Japan is still a great country, best country in East Asia for Black men, but from what I saw out there last year, okay, things are changing there. We need backup plans, and one of it might be Taiwan. So we need that intel, bro, ASAP.
All right, man, I'll get that to you. And pictures, of course. Because I always bring receipts, man. Always proof.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed, bro. Yes, indeed. Any other questions, Patrick?
Hey, that's all I had. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity and providing this space for all the brothers. And to my fellow Marine over there, Semper Fidelis, Fidelis Familia. Hope to meet you in real life. And great story, man. Great. This is gonna be my favorite playback list. Thank you both. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, man. Simplify.
Brother, you mentioned what's it called? You were in Fiji Island. How was that for brothers?
Fiji Islands. Fiji Islands was like going back to the future. I went to Vita Vu. I was in Nandi. My daughter is actually there. It's a black country, and so to me it's in the same situation. It's what Hawaii used to be, but they got a lot of American presence there, and I don't think it'll be a good deal for brothers here because even the exchange rate it's not it's too low. It's like 1.1 to the American dollar, and so it's too expensive. So it wouldn't give the experiences that these other countries are offering. The people are great people. Very very a lot of history there. But as far as looking for the things that brothers are looking for, it'll be hard to marry there. It'll be hard to really organize a long term stay there.
Okay. Maybe we may do a stream in the future if you just, brother. If you want to do it, hit me up, and again, we'll make space for you. Okay.
Most definitely. Thank you, brother.
Awesome. Thank you, King Nu. Appreciate you, bro. Any other callers? If you want to ask about questions, if you can't call in, hit your question in the super chat or PayPal donation. Awesome. So, Bobby, so you see, Brazil is in your top 5 list from
Of
what?
course. Yes.
And was that your first time in Brazil?
No, it's my second time down there. I've been to Sao Paulo before, and I've been to Rio before.
So, sorry, if we do Sao Paulo versus Rio, which is better and why?
Rio, hands down, Rio. It's funny because I was talking to this guy down there in Brazil, and he was saying that like pretty much like they consider Rio to be the jewel, and Sao Paulo is just like they pretend it's not even there, and it could have been just him being kind of like stuck up because he was from Rio and he thought it was better.
Would you say that Sao Paulo is more of the white man's spot, white man's territory, and Rio's for the black man?
Dude, I can't even say that, man, because I had fun in Sao Paulo too. Like you know, when I was there, that was probably 2010, 2011 time frame. And like I spent my whole time, like I met the girl in the hotel lobby. She was getting off work that day, and she pretty much was with me for like the whole 7 days that I was there after that.
Black Brazilian?
No, she was the peanut butter brown skin Brazilian.
Lord have mercy. You meet her, so that was in Sao Paulo, right?
Yeah.
You meet her in the hotel lobby, right? She's staying at the same hotel as you. You
No,
make
she's
it
working
click.
there.
She was
Yeah,
working there.
she's working there.
Housekeeping?
No, she was working the front desk.
brother. How did you pull? How did you pull that? So you say you look at each other. You get she gives you a number. You ask for it, or I wonder how because I've
So
always heard stories about brothers, gaming the front desk lady, then smashing her, whatever. How did you do it, bro? I have
so
interest.
my whole thing is like this. Every time I go to some place, I always want to be friends with two people right off the bat, and that's what number one is going to be somebody who works the front desk, and number two is going to be somebody who works security at the hotel. And the thing about the front desk is most of them can speak English or they speak some other language that you can use while you're there. And the security is going to know all the places that you can and can't go, and they probably have police contacts that can keep you out of trouble should something pop up. So those are my two friends that I always seek out. So she could speak English and she was getting off work. And this is back in 2010, 2011. And I asked her if I could add her on MySpace. So she adds me on MySpace and I send her a message. And I don't want to say we had like Blackberries at the time. And then we started communicating to that BlackBerry Messenger thing. And she's like, "Hey, I can't be hanging out with you at my job, but we can go other places." And she took me all around, and she was perfect. I mean, that girl, like, if I could find her today, man, I would probably be trying to go see her still.
Probably you get down with her in the bedroom. I'm assuming.
Oh, of course, yeah,
uh, in the hotel she worked in, or a different hotel.
different hotel.
Flipping heck, bro. Yo, what that? Yo, Brazil's a movie. Zion, can you turn your camera on in the background so I know you're not a troll, please? Zion, you're confirmed. Thank you, brother. You can turn your camera off if you want to. Let me bring in Zion in background. What's going on, Zion? How you doing, bro?
Yeah, hi, IP. How are you? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, bro. You good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I love your stream, and I like what you're doing. So I figured it would be nice to, join and, participate in the conversation.
Thank you, brother. Much appreciated, bro. Do you have any questions, or do you want to share your story in regards to you being in Brazil?
Yeah, so I've been going to Brazil now for I think the last 6 years. I'm a senior IT project manager by profession, so I'm also in the same field as probably most of you guys who are in IT. And I've been going to Rio now since before the pandemic. And I lived there for about 18 months studying Portuguese. So the 18 months that I've lived there, I've been in four different states in Brazil, right? Rio, Salvador, Recife, which they pronounce it as Recife because a R in Portuguese is usually pronounced like an H, and Sao Paulo. And every state has its own nuances because Rio is more of a touristy type of destination. So you're gonna find that the experience in Rio is gonna be a little bit different compared to everywhere else because you have a lot of more tourist population there. But nevertheless, there's a few things that I want to point out here, just to kind of set the record straight, right? But before I do that, let me just say everyone has a different experience, and I respect that. So I'm not here to negate anything that anybody has to say or rain on anybody's parade because we all have different experiences. So with that disclaimer said,
Fire away, bro.
I signed up for the platinum membership, right? So long before I got there, I was talking to girls on the Brazilian Cupid app. To the point that when I got to Brazil, I had a girl picking me up at the airport in Rio de Janeiro, my first time in Brazil,
Nice.
right? So you have to have those tragedies to when you do things. And I'm talking about a girl that is a perfect 10, right? So she picked me up at the airport, took me back to my Airbnb. She got me checked into my Airbnb. We hung out a bit, went to the beach, have some fun, and the rest I'll keep that offline, right? But in other words, what I'm trying to say is that you if you're planning your trip right, you have to put the time in to do the research, right? So you're prepared for what you're doing. The second thing is that I was taking some Portuguese classes before I got there. So right now, I would say that my Portuguese is at an advanced intermediate level. So I can communicate in Portuguese. Right, I'm not at the expert level where I would say I can do written exams, but there are certain oral exams that I can take and pass. Right, so I'm still in class taking Portuguese lessons. I studied at Camino's Language Center for about 6 months, and then I studied at another school in Salvador for 4 months, Portuguese. Right, but since I have never spoken a language before, English was my only language. It took some while to get a handle on the Portuguese, especially Brazilian Portuguese, because the pronunciation is a little bit different from the Portuguese in Portugal. Right.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now you're back.
Yeah, if you're in Rio de Janeiro, you have to understand Rio is a tourist attraction, right? So you'll find that you'll run into a lot of working girls there, right? And a lot of them will approach you, right? Now, I'm not saying that every girl that approach you is a working girl, but I'm just saying from my experience, Brazilian women tend to be a little bit more conservative in public because they do not want to come off as desperate or needy, especially dealing with foreigners, right? Um, so that I have noticed. Now, from the time that I was in Rio, I spent about maybe I would say 9 months in Rio, and from my experience in Rio, I've noticed that you can meet a lot of girls, especially if you speak Portuguese. It helps. It goes a long way. Now, what I have done when I went to Brazil is that I made a lot of friends, right? Both male and female friends, so that I can, get to know people and get to know my way around better. So I can socialize and party with Brazilians, and that helps a lot because when you have Brazilian friends and you're partying with them, you're pretty much validated. I don't like to use prison terms when I'm talking, but sometimes it's good to have that validation, right? And having Brazilian friends and meeting girls, it helps, right? Because I go to a lot of parties and girls will see me with Brazilian friends, and I'm speaking Portuguese, and the experience is completely different versus me just being a foreigner, coming to their country, and probably they're assuming I'm just looking for a good time. So that helps a lot. I've made a lot of friends in Brazil, and these are good upstanding people who have a profession. They're good people to deal with, and it helps in getting around. So I'll pause there if you have any questions for me, so I can just let that kind of soak in.
Yeah, I mean, Zion, if you want to come on the channel and share your any tips for Brazil, my Instagram DMs are always open, brother. Let me know. But I think you have some information that can help brothers navigate out there in Brazil. But it's entirely up to you if you want to come on the channel for that interview. So if you want to do it, brother, you hit me up on IG, and we can get that stream done in the future. But what would you say is your favorite city in Brazil, and tell me why?
Well, personally, for me, I love Rio, and the reason for that is because if you go to Salvador is a nice city to go to, but Rio has a lot more. The nightlife is better in Rio, all right. And any Brazilian will tell you this. It's boring in Sao Paulo, right? I've been in Sao Paulo. I stayed in Sao Paulo for 3 months, and there's not much to do there. I mean, there's clubs there. Don't get me wrong. There's clubs, restaurants, and stuff, but it's boring compared to Rio. In Rio, you can have fun in Copacabana, Ipanema, Leblon. You can go to Barra de Chuca. You can go to a lot of places, Lemmy, to have fun. There's a lot of different places that you can go to without getting bored. For me, I like a city with a good nightlife, because you have a lot more things to do versus somewhere like Recife, which is it's very tranquil. It's not a party city. So you won't have much to do outside of maybe just going to the club or going to a restaurant to eat and so on. So for me, Rio is the best.
Awesome. Thank you, bro. Thank you. You got any questions, K62?
Nah, I everything you said, man, like about knowing some Portuguese, like I knew none, and it seems like he put himself in a much better position than me, so he would have had a lot more fun than me. My trip, there was no plan whatsoever. I wasn't chat with anybody online before I got there. Like I booked a trip, booked a hotel, didn't know anything about what I was doing, and it just worked out for me.
Yeah, it
Awesome.
helps. It helps because my experience in Brazil, I've dated TV presenters, I've dated law school graduates, I've dated models. I mean, I'm talking about high quality women. So it does help to learn the language, and it does help to also make friends. That's very important. Brazil is a very sociable culture, and I love that the most about them. So it's easy to make friends, and I felt safer in Brazil than I did in Colombia, because the friends that I made there, they became like best friends, right? They also know my family. They've met my mom, and these are people I would consider friends for life.
Okay.
Amazing. Awesome. All right, so let's wrap up the stream. Thank you very much. Zion, do you have any closing statements before I drop you off, bro?
No, pretty much just try to learn the language before you go. And I would strongly suggest for you to get on a dating app. And Brazilian Cupid is a very good dating app. If you get the platinum membership, it will put you in the top tier. I'm not trying to promote Brazilian Cupid, but it did help for me my first time going there, because I was able to meet quality women there and get some nice photos done, gentlemen. It makes a big difference if you're presenting yourself, in a way that is attractive to women. You can't do the cell phone photos. Get some professional photos done, and make yourself look professional, like you're presenting yourself to the world to attract more quality women, and that will take you a far way. And make some friends when you get there. Yeah, it's not all about just the dating, because once you socialize and make friends, you'll find out that you'll have girls coming to you, or your friends hooking you up with girls that you probably would have never met on the street if you were by yourself.
So one last question. How would you dress out there, K62 and Zion, in Rio, to look good but not too flashy, so you're a mark or a target, but to attract women and let people know that, okay, you have something, but you're not too flashy? How would you dress out there?
Man, I went to Macy's, and they've got these little these tables that have like a combination of like a watch, a necklace, and a bracelet for like $50 American. And I just bought one of those, as far as that. And then I kept my hair cut. I kept my my beard trimmed up. Got that shirt trimmed up twice when I was down there. And as far as like clothing goes, I just bought like a bunch of sets of like polo shirts and short sets. And then as far as for my valuables, I had this little wallet that was like a belly band, so it's strapped up underneath my shirt, and I kept my pockets empty. So if anybody tried to reach my pocket, they're gonna get nothing but air. And I said I'm in good shape physically, so if my body was looking good, underneath the clothes too.
Awesome.
Yeah,
What about you, Zion?
yeah, I agree with that. So, Rio is a beach city, right? So daytime, you're gonna be probably a little bit more comfortable in beach attire. Shorts, flip flops, sneakers. Which is fine. But I would say it depends on where you go, right? Because there are places that you don't want to dress up too much, and you'll stick out like a sore thumb because Brazilians really don't really dress up, especially in Rio. I've only seen that in Sao Paulo, where I would have to wear a nice blazer and some loafers and stuff like that. But in Rio, it's very casual. But I would say a classy casual, something that looks good. No jewelry for sure, because you don't want to stick out like a sore thumb anywhere. But I mean, if you put yourself together like what you're seeing in my photo that you're looking at there, I think that you should be fine anywhere. But daytime Brazil is very casual, so it's not so much of a big deal. But the nightlife, I would say casual, nothing more than maybe some slacks and maybe a nice shirt. But it's not too much of a big deal in Rio.
Awesome. All right, Ion, thank you, brother. I'm gonna drop you off. Appreciate you, bro. So Mr. K62, I want to say thank you for your time on this classic live stream. Do you have any closing statements, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I can hang out for a few more minutes if you need me to.
No, I think no one's calling in, bro. So I think it's
Okay.
best if we, just so. But so, do you have any closing statements, bro?
No, I mean, I just, I encourage everybody, go out there, man. It's a big world. Grab yourself a piece of it, man. Get a passport, travel, see some things, expand your comfort zone, get out your comfort zone, and live your life. We don't know how long we're going to be on this earth. So we definitely know that we need to enjoy every single minute that we got while we got it. So that's all I've got.
Facts, absolute facts. Okay, so I've got a caller. Jam, do you want to turn your camera on in the background so I know you're not a troll? Yep, you confirmed. Thank you, Jam. Let me bring in Jam in the background. What's up, Jam? How you doing, bro?
I couldn't catch the stream early, but I heard y'all talking about Rio, and I'm right here currently as we speak. So, but I did catch the tail end of what the guy said in terms of the weather. I mean, in terms of the dress, what he said here is facts. You don't need to dress up over here. In fact, don't do that. In fact, like a button down and some shorts, khakis, all that stuff, like just a beach weather is fine. You don't need to wear any jewelry. In fact, I would recommend for you not to do that. You will stick out you will stick out if you do that. People will know that you're a tourist if you do that. No one who lives here dresses like that. So if you just dress like basic beach attire, you're fine. And in pretty much anywhere you go, whether you go in the low end or high end areas, where you go like in the up scale, like they have a very nice. I don't eat there because I don't eat meat, but they're known for their steak restaurants, and they have very high end scale steak restaurants, especially like in Leblon. And people just eat there in like shorts and khakis, like from the beach all the time. It's very, very casual dress down there. So I would recommend what the guy just said is perfect. Don't wear any jewelry at all. If you're gonna wear anything, then like maybe the basic is like an Apple Watch, maybe that. But only even so, if you're gonna wear that, only wear that in like places like Copacabana, Ipanema, Leblon, the South Zone, because you don't want to draw attention if you're outside of those areas because it's not as safe.
Awesome. Yeah, Jam, we got to do an update stream. Update in the future this year, brother, about life in Rio, apartments, your girlfriend. So let's get that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it after Carnival because that's coming up very soon. It'll be my first one, and I'm actually like staying here in Brazil. I do plan on traveling a bit. I told you I want to go to Japan. I'm in other countries, but I wanted to wait until after Carnival to do that. So let's wait. I think in Carnival it's like the end of this month, and it's like for like a week or two. So sometime in March or April will be a good time to recollect. That'd be like a year after. So anyway, I couldn't catch the stream, so I can't speak too much. But it sounds like from the little that I was able to hear from the guest, it sounds like he gave pretty good intel. I love it here. It's the reason why I moved down here. It's a very great place, especially if you're in the South Zone. And the women here are gorgeous. Weather's gorgeous, women's gorgeous. Although the past 2 months until recently, the weather has not been so good. It's been raining every weekend. But you got to come out here. Try to stay for at least 2 weeks so you can get a really good feel of it. And if you know Spanish or you're at least familiar with some of the Spanish words, learning Portuguese will be pretty easy. It's pretty easy to pick up if you know Spanish, if you're familiar with that. I highly recommend it. I think a lot of brothers would be happy with what Brazil has to offer. Anyway, yeah, like I said, I caught this late, so I can't really speak on too much, but I did want to give my 2 cents since I am currently here as we speak. Thank you, IP, and I'm out.
Awesome. Thank you, Jem. Thank you, K62. Thank you, brother, for coming on here for Classic Live Stream. Much appreciated, bro. Hope to have you again in the future for Taiwan and future countries. And brother, we'll speak soon, okay?
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, take it easy, bro.
Take care, bro. Bye.
Awesome. So that was K62 there, brothers. If you want to hear the Patreon version of Brazil and how freaky Brazilian women are in the bedroom, go on the Patreon and check it out on there, okay? So see you brothers very soon. Peace out.